Okay, so what are you saying, people, and welcome back to another weekly analysis. So on the screen are the pairs that we'll be analyzing today, but make sure you do stay to the end of the video because there is a bonus pair there waiting for you. I'll quickly go through my trades for the week first and then progress into the analysis shortly afterwards. If there is a pair you do want to skip ahead to, use the timestamps below. You can just skip ahead to whichever pair you want to take a look at. But first things first, we'll go for my trades for the week. So up first, we've got Pound Aussie, which I was holding from last week. I did unfortunately exit this position. I did take about 1 hour from it, so can't complain too much. But we had a really big momentum shift. This was a big pivotal area for me. I said if price can respect this, I'll remain in the trade. I had targets down here, but we had a very sharp breakout. Price was looking pretty bullish, so I did end up closing the trade around here, roughly around 1R. Price would have almost taken me at break even if I just remained in the trade, but of course we had a massive meltdown. And again, some trades are gonna be like this, unfortunately. Again, hindsight is a wonderful thing, but you have to have an approach to trading and stay disciplined with that approach, and of course within reason. Some trades will require different types of management, but in this case we had a really big momentum shift. We weren't respecting this consolidation. My thinking was, okay, it looks like this consolidation, this supply area is being invalidated, so I'd wait for price to push back into resistance and perhaps keep an eye for some re-entries, because ideally this is where I want to operate in, this is where I want to find entries at. So if this trade does take me out, I will find another re-entry at that level. We just missed that, of course, but we had a massive sell-off. So again, I do expect Pound Aussie to keep falling. Pretty bearish on this one, but unfortunately exit the trade a little bit early, still for a profit, so I can't complain too much, but of course ideally would still want to be in the position. CAD Gen did take a slight loss on this one. I end up closing the trade just above entry around here, so very small loss, almost a break even really. But yeah, I was looking for a big sell-off here. Again, I talked a lot about how corrective prices are looking on the way up. I was looking for potentially capitalizing on the next lower high. We had some previous highs here to the left. The plan is, can we find the next one? Price came back into resistance, rejected the high pretty well. Nice bearish engulfing candle, hopped in that. And the reason why I did exit early, I didn't normally exit this early in a trade, but price had a very strong double bottom here. We formed support, tested again with this wick, and a very strong close after that. So that is a clear sign to me that momentum is no longer with the bears. We have flipped bullish, and perhaps this structure here is looking to continue. So that was my kind of red flag, get out of position. So I did exit whilst this candle was live here. So it was just above my entry. But yeah, I think I managed it well. The momentum I was looking for didn't really sustain, so I'll keep an eye on CAD Gen. We'll of course go into a bit more detail when we take a look later in the video. But as not for Euro USD, as for DXY, that's the one we take a look at first. DXY is an interesting area. I'm still overall kind of looking for some buys for this one. The market is still bearish, don't get me wrong. We're still seeing lower lows and lower highs, still operating really well within this channel. You know, for all we know, another lower high could form here, and perhaps we do see another swing to the downside. So if the market is going to be short and USD is going to be weak, I want to see a strong break of this counter trend line. That will be the signal to me that, okay, bears have stepped in, we're seeing counter trend line break, we're probably likely going to swing back to these lows and maybe even the low of the channel. So that would make me pretty bearish. And we'll talk about some opportunities on some other USD major currency pairs and how that could translate to opportunities. As for the bullish bias, I want to see price break to the upside, of course. I want price to break out this channel to the upside, and then perhaps we can speak about some pullbacks, maybe a retest of the same area. That would be very nice, kind of forming a big inverse head and shoulder pattern. That's what would really tickle my fancy, and I can find some entries there to take some nice counter trend ideas. But the market is still bearish, we are still falling, and we very well could respect this area. We've got a nice level of resistance running through the market as well. But I think what is pivotal is the trend line break there. So we'll see which trend line breaks essentially. Either which way, there are some opportunities to keep an eye on for the dollar. As for Euro USD, which is in pretty much the same situation as the dollar, sending to the upside, overall quite corrective, so I am looking for a bigger drop there for Euro. It might not be a complete reversal, but I do think we can see some type of counter trend move. We are coming back into an area of confluence, similar situation to the dollar, prior resistance turn support. We've got the low of the channel coming up there as well. I think this is an important place where Euro could potentially find some upside. Again, similar situation with the counter trend line break. Perhaps if you can break above that, that would be a strong signal to say, okay, the buyers have stepped in, likely to push back to highs, maybe even the upper end of the channel there as well. And on the flip side, if price does end up falling and breaking through this, that would be a very bearish signal. And at that point, I'll be happy to look for shorts, perhaps on the retest of that area. And instead of a inverse head and shoulder in DXY's case, this will be a head and shoulder pattern. So there's your left, there's your head, and there's your right shoulder. Excuse the drawing, but I'm sure you guys get my point. So if we do see a strong break of this, that'll tell me, okay, the bears stepped in. I do think euro is due a bit of a breather, so I like the shorts on a retest of that area. We'll get more into detail about that setup in the future, but from a bullish standpoint, I'll probably keep an eye on that trend line break. If that counter trend line does break to the upside, that would be a very bullish signal, and I'll expect euro to rally after that. So if you are bullish, keep an eye on that retest of that support level and a strong close above, and you got some buys back into the high, perhaps the high of the channel. If you are short bias, then as we mentioned, waiting for the strong break of that support level, then looking for a retest, and then hopefully some shorts back into a prior low here, or maybe even further. But I think for now, keep it relatively simple, and that could be your target there. So that will be the plan going to next week for Euro USD. Okay guys, so before we progress with the video, I just want to quickly share with you a project we've been working on, Zenthryx.ai. It's an advanced AI powered trading platform which allows traders to access AI powered tools and a lot more to take their trading to the next level. And I quickly want to share with you the platform. We'll go through it briefly, take a look at what Zenthryx has to offer, what's coming soon, and what to get excited about. So quickly, let's take a look. This is the platform, this is the dashboard for Zenthryx.ai. You've got different areas for different sections and different services that Zenthryx has to offer. Here you have the CFD trading area, which allows you to access the AI powered trading signals across different markets, different time frames. There's a lot to go through there. And you can choose what signals you want to follow. You can also connect it to your broker, so you can directly take these trades into your brokerage account, whether demo or live. You can also chat with different AI agents. Here you've got a selection of different analysts. You've got fundamental analysts here, which you can talk to in plain language, discuss what the fundamental outlooks are for your USD, for example. You can talk with the technical analysis, the sentiment analysis, and find different information for different markets. You've got the market outlook here. This will give you outlooks for the day, outlook for the week. If you want to get a brief summary of what opportunities there are for the day or for the week, that's a great place to start. You've got the platform algorithm over here, which you can find and create different strategies, indicators. Here's the strategy validation, which actually allows you to backtest strategies and see how profitable it is, and also give you indications to how to tweak and improve the strategy. Here you'll be able to find a library of all the strategies and all the indicators you make. And the beauty of it is you can use plain language to develop these indicators and develop these strategies. No code is required. Also, the CFD strategy builder, you can come here, build a strategy from scratch. If you need some help, you've got the AI assistant here, which will give you prompts. It will give you information of how to start to develop a trading strategy. You can, of course, take the strategy and go and connect it with your brokerage account. And in these tabs, you can monitor it, monitor upcoming trades, monitor your performance on that account. And a really bright future of Zenthryx is how it looks into the future, into trading on-chain and on-chain prop firms as well. Here we have perps trading, which allows you to trade directly from your wallet on-chain. So no broker required, no need for withdrawal delays or deposit delays or KYC. Here you have on-chain prop firm, which involves exactly what you've been seeing with normal prop firms trading on a centralized exchange. This time it's just decentralized, so the exact same rules apply, but again, look into the future, how trading is developing into the future. Here you can find crypto trading on the Solana blockchain. You can swap between tokens, place orders, launch tokens here, trading bots. You have an AI assistant there to help. You can monitor other wallets and so on, and a lot more coming in the near future, guys. So get excited. There's a lot coming here with Zenthryx. Check out the description. You can find the Telegram link to the community, and also for limited time only, we do have on offer the Telegram Signal group, which you can find the link to that as well. So check it out if you're interested. Anyway, back to the video. Okay, so next up we've got USD JPY, which overall still a bearish market to me. I'm still expanding to the higher time frames, and we are still seeing a pretty nice downtrend, which of course started at the start of the year. We smashed into massive support recently at 140. I'm still looking for us to revisit that. But in terms of opportunities, it has been quite choppy, and I've been looking at this as just one big consolidation with dollar yen. So haven't really been so interested to try and trade it within those levels. But as we do push to the high here at 148.6, it does look a lot more interesting now. Basically, the higher or the higher the range, you could see it as we got support here. We had a level here, which price did had a nice break and retest recently. As we can see, acting as support, which is kind of giving us that lift off. Yen is quite weak at the moment as well. But as we do approach this resistance here at 149, I think this is a really nice place for a short, of course, depending how we get there, depending how price reacts. But that would look like a smart place for a short to me. The market is ranging, and essentially we're looking either at a breakout or the market respecting this level. If we can see some healthy rejections, shift of momentum, bear stepping in, bearish engulfing candles, if we can see similarities to what I just mentioned in those areas, that would be a healthy short. And we've got a pretty big range to look at. You got the low of the range around the 142.5 area, and of course you got the support level at 140 on the daily chart just below. If we do have a breakout, we can speak on that as well. Perhaps some retests could look good. I'm more kind of concerned with the shorts here for dollar yen, but if we are going to break to the upside, definitely keep an eye on a break and retest, because hopefully that could be the start of maybe a new trend for dollar yen, because we have been bearish for a while. Now we're consolidating. You know, is this potentially a consolidation for a reversal? It could be. If you do see a strong breakout, that's what I'll be leaning towards, a reversal, seeing a lot more upside. If of course we do just smack into resistance, reject it there, then we might see a similar swing to what we had a few weeks ago and see another push back down, and the range continues. So it is pretty much all eyes on this level here, and that will kind of dictate my bias for the next few weeks potentially, really, with dollar yen. If USD does gain some strength, then potentially we do lean towards maybe a breakout. USD will be the decider of that. If the dollar still wants to keep falling, maybe you do respect the level and come back down. So I would keep an eye on that. But really, it's just to see how price operates within this level, and that will determine our bias and which kind of way we're looking to trade. But that's the plan next week for dollar yen. Okay, so over to dollar CAD. So dollar CAD, we've had a nice reaction from a healthy area of demand here. You can see a big consolidation did spew out a lot of momentum, and price has since come back to test them. We've seen some reactions from the buyers at this area. We were speaking about a double bottom last week. We did see that form a nice break of the counter trend line to the upside. I spoke about this level as a healthy target for dollar CAD. Unfortunately, we became very, very corrective since the breakout, so we haven't really seen much progression since the breakout on Monday. But I would still look to see if dollar CAD can reach that level. I think that's still a smart place for a short as well. If this dollar CAD bearish trend still has more downside to achieve, then I would suggest price holding that level would be a reasonable place for some entries. If price does go and break that to the upside, then I wouldn't expect us to continue lower anymore. That would look like a big double bottom and a reversal pattern for more upside. So I'd be very, very bullish from then onwards. Yes, we've got the double bottom, but price very much is still bearish, and until we break that high, overall I would be bearish following that momentum again since pretty much the start of the year here for dollar CAD. So kind of more intraday, intra-week, I'm bullish, expecting a drive back into 1.378, and then I'll be looking for us to kind of top out there and come back down. If price does go and break through this, then again we'll look to flip that bias around. We could be looking at a pretty big reversal and some buys, but we'll probably discuss that next week because we still need to get there first. But for now, shorts around 1.378 look good. I'm not so keen about getting involved here. That's a lot of the noises. We're very sideways there, very choppy. I'd rather be at the tops or at the bottoms where I can get smart stop losses and be far away from all the noise of the kind of choppy price action. So keep a close eye at 1.378. Shorts look good there. Of course, we'll wait for entries and rejection to back it up, but that's really the area of interest. And then shorts back into the low 1.355 will be the play for next week. Okay, so over to Euro Pound. So Euro Pound pretty bullish on this one. Unfortunately missed out on a nice buy opportunity. I was hoping we could see a pullback into this range. I was also looking for a pullback into this area here as well, but the market just been too bullish for me recently. Healthy breakout, was looking for the retest for some buys. Healthy breakout again, looking for the retest for some buys, but unfortunately not the case. Still, the area is valid should we come back to revisit. We haven't quite made new highs yet. As long as price doesn't go and do that, I would still be very much interested for buying at 0.858. So still keeping a close eye. Maybe we do see the pullback into that zone. I would always try and stay awake to that. The worst thing I want to do is see price push down and not be awake to that, kind of think, okay, price is gone, and miss the trade unnecessarily. So I'll definitely keep an eye on that area. In terms of the shorts, as you approach the daily resistance, naturally, with how Euro Pound moves, it's a very, very choppy pair, and I do think this is a nice place for a sell. I'm not looking for anything crazy for Euro Pound. I'm not looking for price to absolutely melt. I'm looking for a reaction. Price may well still head higher, and the bigger move might still be to the upside. But I think this is a smart area, judging how we operate and how we react. I think this is a smart area to keep an eye on some shorts and look for a downturn for Euro Pound. Again, it may just be a pullback, so it wouldn't be a position where I'm looking for a big move for Euro Pound, more so just trading the reaction of the level. But pretty much the same idea as last week. We spoke about both these areas last week. Not much has happened. We kind of consolidated and only just about gained some bullish momentum on Friday there. So let's see if we can revisit either of those two areas. Preferably, I like the longs a lot more. So that's kind of where I'm hoping to see Euro Pound push to, but we'll have to wait and see next week if that does fulfill. But that's my expectation. That's the opportunities I'm keeping an eye on going to next week for Euro Pound. Okay, so next up we've got Aussie dollar. So with this one, I'm still very interested with the shorts. We're very corrective on the way up. And again, when we're seeing this price behavior, when price is ascending as correctively as we're seeing now, it's a sign that price is running out of steam. We're looking at potentially seeing some downside, whether it's going to be a big reversal or just a counter trend move for price to continue higher. We'll speak more about that in the near future. But I'm still very interested with the shorts, and as I spoke about last week and probably the week before as well, still just looking for the retest of the higher end of the channel. This is the channel I've mapped out, connecting the lows, connecting the highs. Really where I want to do my businesses, right at the top of that channel, where I can find some entries, some stop losses above the channel, and hopefully take advantage of a swing back to the lower end. And maybe, if we're lucky, potentially a breakout as well, which is why I really like the Aussie dollar opportunity, because not only are we trading the width of the channel, or the height of the channel, but also potentially trading the breakout. Locking gains at the low and leave positions to run if we do get a breakout. Of course, if we see some rejection there, you can always look to call it a day at the low. But I'm really liking this Aussie dollar opportunity. Just wait and see if we can get there. Again, this dotted line represents the middle of the channel. I want to kind of be as far away from that as possible, while still being within the channel, if that kind of makes sense. So still looking around 0.662 for some entries, and a target, at least for next week anyway, to 0.65. We'll see if we can catch some breakouts potentially, but that is still the plan for next week for Aussie dollar. Okay, so over to New Zealand CAD. So New Zealand CAD, we spoke about some buys this week. We had a fake out a couple of weeks ago, and I said after we had a strong rejection of the high that the plan is just to wait to see if we can get another retest of the low of the range, because essentially New Zealand CAD is just a ranging market right now. So the idea again is looking to buy low and sell high after the fake out, looking for the retest of that same level for continuation. That is still very much the plan. So if you can return to that support level, reject it again, I think that's still a very smart place for a buy. And I like it because you just had the fake out. So everyone who was already kind of long before, liquidity kind of already been liquidated there. And now we should have a free hit to test that support level and hopefully see a continuation back into that resistance, basically the high of the range. And then we'll go from there. I'm actually expecting long-term price to break past the high, but I suppose from a trading perspective, it will make a lot more sense just to target the high of the range. Keep it simple. You can always leave a small position to run if it looks like we're potentially getting the breakout, but you don't want to be too greedy just to see price reject resistance come back down against you. So definitely keep an eye on that. But yeah, New Zealand CAD going forward, still kind of looking to trade within the range. We've got healthy support below us. If of course we do see a strong breakout next week, then we can speak about some shorting opportunities on a retest. But for now, I'm quite liking the buy opportunity. Retest 0.817 and some buys back into the high at 0.831. Okay, so next up we've got pound NZD. So I am pretty bearish with this one. We spoke briefly about pound Aussie at the start of the video, recapping my position. But pound NZD have the same bias. Pound Aussie, of course, similar pair to it. Pound NZD is a market that's been trending to the upside for a while, but I do think we're on our last legs. I do think we are due some downside, and the fact that price has tried to create some highs but has failed miserably, I do think this will end up being a lower high and price will end up pushing to the downside. So I'm pretty bearish with this one, at least looking for a push into support, but more kind of significantly, I'm looking for the break of that support level. The only trick is, how do we trade this? How do we find entries? Well, in a ranging market like this, just like we spoke about with New Zealand CAD, you want to be operating right at the highs or right at the lows. You want to be doing your business, where there's opportunity. In the middle is kind of where you want to stay away, because that's where you get the maximum chaos and the maximum kind of noise, and that might be difficult in terms of stop loss placement. Whereas if you can get your stop loss above the highs here, again, not that that's extremely perfect, that you won't get wicked out or anything, but at least the market has to work a lot harder to trigger that stop loss, and also positions you well in terms of your entries being right at the top of the range. If the market was to see a full swing, you can really take advantage of that. But ideally would want to see price push back into resistance there for pound NZD into 2.275. At the moment we're in the middle, so I wouldn't really advise do anything right now. I am bearish on the pair, I'm expecting it to continue to fall, but when I jump into some shorts here, I would stay away personally. So either we push back into resistance, or perhaps we wait for a breakout and some shorts after that, because like I said, I do expect pound NZD to see a lot more downside in the future. So I like the idea of some breakout opportunities as well, but before that, let's see if we can get the retest. But that will be the plan next week for pound NZD. Okay, so next up we got CAD Yen. So as I said, I've been looking to sell CAD Yen, but as we continuously break highs, I will look to flip that bias around, also keeping a close eye on how weak the yen has been, which doesn't look like that's about to flip around anytime soon. I do like the idea of buying CAD Yen. It's not the best trend, I must say. I would like to see a bit more momentum with this one. I think there are other yen pairs which look better. Euro yen on the bonus pair last week, Euro yen had a lot of momentum. Looks like a far cleaner breakout, so I'd rather follow Euro yen than CAD Yen, but it does look like CAD Yen is following in the footsteps, and we are seeing this bullish structure continue and higher highs and higher lows. So there is a nice area of confluence below us here, where we've got this trend line linking up pretty well with this area of demand. If price was to revisit that nice and slowly, show some signs of rejection, wicks, bullish engulfing candles, that to me would be a smart place for a long, and a genuine area where you can see another higher low form, and we can take this back to highs, maybe further as well. It still is a corrective trend, so I wouldn't get too excited, but we are looking bullish. We are continuous with the higher highs and higher lows, so I would be looking to try and continue that on a pullback, and this really is where the confidence lies for me. So keeping a close eye of 105.900, actually 106 pretty much, we'll call it 106. Keeping a close eye on that area, looking for entries there, and then simply looking to trade it back to the high. Might be some higher targets we can look at to our left, but as long as we can get it back to the prior high, that will always be a smart trade and a smart place for a target. So bullish on CAD Yen, keeping a close eye on 106, looking for buys next week. Okay, so next up we got pound USD, which is still operating within this channel, and as you can see, we're just about pushing to the low of it. So this is where things get interesting for pound. If we are going to respect this channel and bounce from here, see another higher low as we've been doing previously, we should be seeing some rejection here. So I want to see some wicks, bullish engulfing candles, momentum shift. It would be nice to see some wicks like we've had recently as well into this area. That would be beautiful. But I want to see some really strong rejection here, because if price doesn't and we end up breaking through, that would really make me bearish, especially if we end up taking out this low here. And especially if you look at where we're trading on the daily chart, we've just taken out some major highs on the daily. The market is looking quite corrective. It looks like it's running out of steam. I would expect to see a lot more downside in the near future for pound USD. It might just be a pullback for us to continue to the upside later on, so I'm not trying to predict a massive sell-off, but I think we are due a bit of a counter trend move, a slightly deeper pullback if you will. So if the market does end up breaking structure here, I will be flipping to a bearish bias, looking for shorts on the retest and looking for more downside. On the other side of the coin, if we do see some rejection here, I think this is a smart place for a buy, and perhaps we see a swing back to highs, similar to the Euro USD idea. Just really depends what price does at this area. So keeping a close eye at 1.35, that's really a make or break area for me for pound. And if we can hold into that, great. That will make us very bullish on the pair, and looking for a swing back to 1.378. Likewise, if we end up breaking to the downside, we'll wait for the break and retest opportunity. Again, I kind of want us to take out the lows as well. So I want a big breakout here, but then that would be an opportunity which I'll keep a close eye on as well. So that's the plan going to next week for pound USD. Okay, so next up we've got pound CAD. So with this one, I do have somewhat of a bullish bias at the moment, but I am looking for some selling opportunities. But it does hinge on us breaking through this low. If we are going to sell the market, or at least if I'm going to sell the market, especially from a swing trader's perspective, I do want to see this low taken out. That will tell me that, okay, we probably are going to see some downside after that, especially if we can do it with some momentum as we've been seeing. And I'll be pretty bearish on the pair, looking for some downside. We did fail at those recent swing highs on the daily chart, so it looks to me that momentum is running out of steam a little bit, and perhaps a big sell-off could be happening. At the same time, the market is still bullish. We haven't taken out any major lows yet, so we've got to respect the buys. And there's some really critical support below us here at 1.832. We are trading in a nice area of demand right now, although we are seeing a lot of momentum. And if price does end up breaking through early on in the week, my interest will be on this support level here, looking for buy opportunities there, looking for a reaction, not necessarily trying to predict the future in terms of a big swing all the way back to highs, more so just trying to see if we can find a bounce at this level. It might last for a day, it might last for 2 days, it might last for a week, or of course it might fail as well. But I think this is a very smart place for a buy. Recently, price has shown a lot of respect to this area, and presumably if we see some really healthy rejection, I would expect to see another bounce. So keep an eye on both of these areas. Nice area of demand to our left. You can see a brief consolidation, strong break to the upside. So this is why I'm interested in this area at the moment. You can see it did provide a bit of a reaction there, although it looks like it is fading. So the interest probably does shift to this level if we see a break early on in the week, and then we'll address from there. And if price then does end up breaking structure, I'll look for some pullbacks or some shorts. I'm not too sure as to what level, so I'll probably speak more about the opportunity come next week. But from a buyer's perspective, we've still got an area of demand, an area of support to keep a close eye on. So keep an eye on those two areas, specifically this level here. I think that's a smart place for a buy going into next week. Okay, so over to pound yen. So a very corrective up move we've seen recently into some resistance here. It's 50-50 really with pound yen. Does price break through resistance, or do you respect it? That will kind of really determine my bias for quite a while, to be honest. In Euro yen's case, which is a similar pair to pound yen, it's smashed through resistance here and has been looking very, very bearish for the past few days, few weeks even. If pound yen is going to follow in Euro yen's footsteps, I want to see a strong break of that resistance, and then I'll be happy to look for some retests and some buying opportunities on the flip. And then we can start to talk about a push back to 207. That will be the next major high, next major resistance, and that is where I'll be expecting price to get to. Of course, there's always the other side of the coin. If price does respect resistance here, we could probably see a push back to the low end of the channel, and maybe a big sell-off from there as well. You know, last time we were here, we did reject pretty well, and we did see a pretty big drop all the way to 189. Perhaps something similar could happen as well. So it's kind of in a make or break area right now for pound yen. At the moment, we are rejecting the level. We are quite flat though, so I wouldn't say it's anything critical. In terms of the larger shorts, I would like to see us break the low of the channel. Then that would make me pretty bearish on the pair. I'll be looking at shorting opportunities on the lower time frames. As for the buying opportunity, then again, just want to see a break of the high and a retest of that 200 area, 199.5 to be a bit more specific. But yeah, if the yen's gonna be weak, then I kind of had the expectation that pound yen's probably favoring a break to the upside. But you know, I'll believe it when I see it, sort of thing. Then I'll start talking about some opportunities on a retest. If we are going to sell off, then we have a long way to go. We still need to go and break the low of this channel here as well, because even if you do sell off slightly, it might just form a higher low to keep us pushing up. So terms of the larger sales, a break is very, very pivotal. But for now, I actually do favor us breaking to the upside, so keeping a close eye on that opportunity. And if we are going to sell off, like I said, wait for the channel to break. But that is the plan going to next week for pound yen. Okay, so up next we've got gold. So gold I haven't liked a lot. I've spoke about this in terms of the range we've been seeing. I think gold is quite sideways. Of course, as a whole, gold is a very, very bullish market. I'm still very much a buyer of it, or wanting to be a buyer of gold. So I am looking for buying opportunities. I did speak about this support level here last week and during the week as well as a place which I would like to long from, right at the lows of the range here, away from all the noise, and coming into a very significant level of support, which if it does reject successfully, it puts me in a very kind of safe place to hold for a big swing, because should market kind of have some frantic pullbacks, I'm away from all of that, and hopefully I can capitalize on a really big move. We also have support here which prices respected very well since last week as well. I think this is also a nice place for a buy towards the lower end of the range, and also a smart place for a stop loss. But again, the key thing I want to stay away from gold is trying to get into the nitty gritty price action of this area, because that's where a lot of the ranging and the chaos is. So coming back to a more significant level looks a lot more appropriate to me, and also this level here would be the most appropriate, away from all the noise into a very big level. I think that would be a very smart place for a buy. But again, when we do have these ranging markets, I'm not looking for kind of intricate patterns or trying to do anything too complicated. It's literally just trying to buy low and sell high and play what the conditions are providing us, which at the moment are very, very choppy conditions here for gold. So unless we push into support, I'm not really interested about buying at those highs or in that range. I want us to push back into 32.65 or 31.50. Hopefully find some opportunities off the back of that, and maybe we'll be able to swing it back into highs at 3,500 and maybe beyond. But that is my plan going to next week for gold. Okay, so over to BTC. So it's been a very bullish week for this one. Again, I said keep an eye on this in this area here, because we had the bearish channel, and it was kind of 50-50 where the price was breaking to the upside or perhaps faking to the upside. But we really want to see price kind of cement itself, break to the upside, and then look for opportunities off the back of that. Unfortunately, BTC was just very, very bullish. So if you were waiting for a pullback, unless you drop right down to the lower time frames and find some intraday pullbacks, you might be able to take advantage of some opportunities after that breakout if you're looking for the retest of this area. Unfortunately, BTC was way too bullish for that, but it was a very nice breakout. BTC is looking bullish. We got 120k just above us. I think that's the next big psychological level for BTC. Maybe 125 as well to keep an eye on, which is not too far away. But yeah, BTC, you want to see some pullbacks now. The market's had an exceptional breakout. The goal would now just be to wait for some retest opportunities, unless maybe price creates its own support, especially when markets have a lot of momentum. Sometimes you don't see the bigger pullbacks come back and retest structure. So sometimes price will pull back, create support, test it again, kind of in a bull flag fashion, and then continue. So this could be an idea to keep a lookout for. But again, that will take time to develop, and something we'll have to monitor as the week progresses. But as for kind of an area to keep an eye on as cemented and looks very good at the moment, would be this area here. Of course, we just need a pretty big pullback to see that happen, but we may create a pattern along the way, which might also be very good to trade. So keep an eye on something like this forming. But what can I say with BTC? Very nice breakout. The channel broke to the upside. Very bullish in behavior. Momentum looks good. Onwards and upwards. We've got 120, 125 in the next big levels. That's kind of where we're looking. Until we see some signs of some red flags and BTC running out of steam, then yes, we'll start to talk about that. But for now, we're just looking at pullbacks and a lot more upside for BTC. And last but not least, we've got a bonus pair, which for this week is silver. So silver, very nice break to the upside, sort of kind of doing what BTC is doing, but very nice break to the upside. And looks like it's just continuing its bullish breakout since, when was that? In June. So silver now looking very, very attractive, way better than its counterpart with gold, so my attention's a lot with silver at the moment. I was, in fairness, looking for the retest of this level. It didn't happen, unfortunately, but now we've got this second level to consult with, which is the retest of this range, and that's kind of where my focus will be now. The next big psychological level I've got for silver is at 40. We're probably about 3/4 of the way there roughly since the breakout, so I still do see a lot more upside. And even if we do get to 40 sooner than expected, I'm expecting long term silver to get to all-time highs, which is more or less 50. So there's still a long way to go with silver. It's kind of the main reason why I like silver, is because gold's been super bullish, creating all-time highs. Silver hasn't made an all-time high for a very long time, and it's long overdue, I believe. So there's still opportunity here. There's a lot of momentum in the market, which is the key thing. We've got a kind of a clear-cut trend here. So if you're looking to trade trend falling markets that are trending, silver is definitely a market to keep a close eye on. And you've got a very nice textbook opportunity of a simple breakout, now looking for the retest. And I think a great way to manage the trade, just trading stops, let momentum pick up, not so much trying to predict where we're going to reverse from, because we haven't been at these areas for a long time, but just trading stops, seeing how far we can take it. So yeah, silver looking very bullish, keeping a close eye on 37.3 for some pullbacks, and looking to take that to the upside. And that does bring us to the end of the analysis, guys. If you have found it useful, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel. It does really help out. Check out the Zenthryx Telegram channel. It is linked in the description below. If you're not a part of the community, make sure you do check it out. If you haven't hit the bell on the channel, make sure you do so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Drop a comment down below any pairs you're looking to trade next week. I'm interested to find out. Let me know. But as always, guys, I'll be streaming again next week as always, so make sure you do join in and chat with me on the streams and see what opportunities are starting to arise together. I really do hope you found the analysis useful. Have a great weekend, people, and I'll catch you all in the next one.